being introverted.
Right.
Now, the truth is, there are a lot of theories behind it in terms of these labelings, because all of us are ambiverts. Communication is no rocket science, right? All of this information is already out there.
Can you tell us about how many types of communication styles are there, or what are the different types of communication styles? People who are watching our podcast, if they want to develop their EQ skills, they want to develop the communication skills, what 3 or 5 tips that you can give for them?
First thing, very essential thing in communication, I'm going to emphasize listening.
Okay.
We are increasingly becoming a hearing generation.
Today we have a very interesting guest with us who has been training people to communicate, to speak, to build their confidence. She has been this in this industry for the past 20 years. So welcome to the Manav Show, June.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manav.
So, ma'am, let's go directly to a very blunt question that I want to ask you is that we live in a world where everyone wants a perfect script. They want a perfect language. They want to communicate properly. But do you think this obsession with perfect speaking is making people more fake than real?
First of all, I think this word perfect can create a lot of trouble.
Right.
Because when we talk about training or improving communication skill, it's not about achieving perfect communication.
Okay.
It's about achieving clearer communication, more clarity, more consideration in the choice of words and our language, a communication that is more empathetic, more considerate of the emotions or the landscape of the room in which we are interacting. So the whole purpose of training for communication skills is so that we can improve in these areas. And as a result, we establish better rapport with people. Right. At the end of the day, why do we communicate? I think it's very important to understand that core reason. We communicate to connect. Right? Whether it is in our family, our social circle, in our workplace, or any other engagements with people, it is to connect. And this is seen in a very classic manner when people of two different ethnic backgrounds, two different languages communicate and they still understand each other. Right? And there is that smile, there is that human connect that happens. So we need to broaden the way we look at communication. We shouldn't be limiting it to just language, pronunciation, or certain etiquettes. Those are important, but that doesn't define communication as a whole. So our endeavor, or rather my endeavor in this whole field in so many years, has been to help people understand the scale of communication, to become more humane communicators. Right? It's not just improving English or just getting a few certifications or attending a few workshops. Those are good. I'm not saying that they don't help. Having good pronunciation increases your confidence. Right? And people can understand better, especially when you talk to people from different backgrounds. But that is not communication as a whole. Perfect communication does not exist. It's a lifelong journey. We need to keep learning. And that is one aspect I'd like to emphasize. We think we do a few courses or we attend a few seminars and our job is done. It's not. Because we are going to keep meeting different kinds of people. That means our communication style needs to broaden. It needs to evolve. And that can only happen when we are constantly thinking about improving these skills. So that is the objective why communication training is essential.
Okay. So when we talk about communication training, I have attended some workshops because I have been an introvert child for the longest period of my time. But when I used to attend that workshops, I used to go to that workshops. They were very polished. Like we used to get the knowledge. But in your experience, do you think that the corporate trainings that are happening right now, they are just being used as a band-aid for covering up something that is much deeper, like insecurities?
You have addressed half of the problem.
Okay.
That is the knowledge part,
Right.
the awareness part. And that's where these kind of workshops, these kind of training programs help.
Okay.
To be honest, communication is no rocket science, right? All of this information is already out there. You are able to take out time every day, watch a couple of YouTube videos, attend a few tutorials. You will get all this knowledge. But now comes the second part, the implementation.
Mm-hmm.
Any knowledge for the sake of it is kind of futile, right? Till we translate it into action or some
Right.
kind of a change.
Mm.
So, as you mentioned about this area of being, introverted.
Right.
Now, the truth is, there are a lot of theories behind it in terms of these labelings,
Mm.
because all of us are ambiverts.
Right.
That is the reality, right? We are not the same with everyone or in
Mm.
every context or situation. So there are some situations where we need to get a bit more assertive, a
Mhm.
bit more expressive, but right now we may be hesitating.
Mm.
So identifying those reasons, what is holding us back,
Mm.
working on it can help us express more. But that does not mean we are always that way.
Okay.
Right? With our closest friends or with our family members, we might be notorious,
Right.
right? We might be loud and even considered intolerable.
Right.
So the idea of training is somewhere to identify what are the areas specific to me
Okay.
that are my strengths. How can I capitalize on that more?
Mm.
What are the areas where I'm lacking or where I find difficulty?
Mm.
Try and work on that.
Okay.
But this identification is the key point of training,
Mm.
right? Otherwise, it's just knowledge.
Okay.
And without that kind of personalized feedback, that kind of recognizing, we cannot translate it into action.
Mm.
Then it just becomes that, let's say, a Gyan session. I could teach you about body language for the next 1 hour,
Mm.
but that's immaterial because most of it may not be relevant to you or
Mm.
something that you can implement.
Right.
But instead, if I say, Manav, the way you keep your head, that can be altered, right? That can help you look more confident. Now that helps. Right?
Okay.
So corporate trainings, I think, are a good initiative on the part of organizations.
Mhm.
However, that should not be considered as a be all end all, right? Somewhere the translating has to happen for that self work, and I think a kind of a personalized coaching with some kind of a trainer or a coach helps.
Okay.
Just like we see in beauty pageants,
Mm.
a lot of girls evolve,
Right.
right? And some of their journeys are spectacular.
Right.
At the end of those 10 months, 11 months, they really come out as a better version of themselves. Does it mean they're all fake? No.
No.
Right? They have identified what are some of the problem areas and what are my strengths. How can I highlight that? So that is the goal of training.
Okay. So as you said that we need to identify our strengths. So when we talk about the business part, there is SWOT analysis.
Right.
So strength, weakness, opportunity, threats.
Right.
So in communication, can we apply that SWOT analysis by any chance?
I would say it can be applied in most areas of our lives,
Okay.
right? Because we look at pros and cons, we look
Right.
at benefits and
Right.
losses. So even in communication, in our personality, in the way we respond, there are going to be key areas which are naturally good, the strengths. There are areas where we've never thought about. Those would be the opportunities, right? We've never really, like, to give you an example, there are some professionals who are academically brilliant, right? So their career path kind of goes in a very smooth fashion. They pass out from the best of institutions, get recruited in great workplaces, till they reach a point where now they have to take on a leadership role. Now that's an opportunity,
Right.
but are they prepared for it? Not necessarily, right? Being a scholar does not guarantee you're a great leader. So that's an opportunity for development. Now, threat, yes. Now that again comes because of diverse variables. You're constantly interacting in different situations and environments. People are changing. Your own emotional landscape is changing. So those are threats that can derail, right? You may lose control. You may react in a very inappropriate manner, say something which offends people. So those are threats. So this whole aspect of SWOT, yes, can be applied, but it's not something that can be done in a single table or in one sitting, because this is actually a journey. Who you are in your teens is not the person you are in your 40s, right? So accordingly, our style, our approach, and our mindset. When we talk of communication, we have to talk of the mind. The way we think, the way we analyze, interpret, that will impact our communication. So it's actually a big, long exercise.
Okay. As you said that it's an exercise, it's a journey. Now, I want to take an example of entrepreneurship. We are seeing that there are young leaders who are coming up who are 24 years, 23 years, and they are coming up with a good startup with a good amount of business, and the employees that are working under them are elder to them. They are
Right.
40 years old, 38 years old. So at that time, how should an entrepreneur communicate, because he has to give respect to the seniority, to the experience that they carry, and also he's a leader.
Right.
So at that time, how should one communicate?
Whether you're a team leader, whether you are an organization's leader, one key aspect that is essential is trust.
Okay.
Right? So everything that we do when we talk of rapport building, conflict, negotiation, persuasion, all these different skills, at the end of the day, what are we trying to achieve? Trust. The
Right.
people who are working with us, I will not necessarily say reporting to us because that's like a very hierarchical kind of a
Right.
thing, but people who are working with us need to trust us, that they can rely on us, that they believe in our decisions, and they can turn to us when they are in some kind of trouble or need. Right? So how do you build that trust? One of the essential qualities is respect.
Right.
Right? And that's never going to go out of fashion. 50 years back or 50 years hence.
Right.
Treating people with dignity will always help in building rapport and building trust. So, as a leader, whether you're young, whether you're middle aged or old, at the end of the day, how do you treat your team members? Are you inclusive in your mindset? And when I say inclusive, it's not just the gender diversity or the normal usage of the word inclusive. Are you actually inclusive of different communication styles, different personalities, different thought processes? Now, just because someone is old need not mean they are rigid. That's a stereotype. And just because someone is young does not mean they're very agile or very flexible. Right? So, somewhere the ability to travel that entire landscape, accommodate different kinds of people, that's going to be one of the most basic skills a leader should have. So now coming back to how they can improve the workplace, it's like some of the programs we run, like even interdepartmental. You'll be surprised to know a lot of organizations struggle there. Right? So you have like a lot of departments that come together for a single project. Now, how do you ensure there's a synergy there?
Right.
Most of the times there are ego battles, there is a credit battle, and there are even cases where people refuse to take instructions from someone they
Right.
don't consider their own team.
Yes.
So these are real life issues that are being faced not just by a small startup, but even by very large organizations. So the constant endeavor has to be in treating people well. And when I say treating people well, it's like a common myth in EQ. It does not mean being nice all the time. It's not just smiling sweetly or saying, "Oh, you look pretty today." That's not being treating people well. When they give an idea, instead of shooting it down, disrespecting their thought process, explain it with logic or explain it with reason. People do understand. Don't assume people are unreasonable. Right? So the way we come across to people will influence the way they reciprocate as well. And leadership is about maintaining that equilibrium. Right? It's not knowing everything. And the idea of being a leader is to get the best out of everyone. You have so many talented people there with different strengths. So imagine what you can do if all of it can be harnessed together. But that does not mean you will get along with every one of them every day. There will be disagreements. But does that necessarily have to become a conflict? That's up to us.
Okay. So here I have a thing, I have experienced it myself. So when I joined my family business, it was like mm, owner's son has come into the business and they weren't respecting that much. I had to find my own pathway.
Right.
But people were rigid there. They had a thing like not respecting because I was young. So my point is, when a person is rigid, हम उनको कितना भी प्यार से बोले मलाई मारे, still after a certain point, we being the leader, it's gonna be a point that they're not gonna listen to us. So at that time, when someone is so rigid, how do we make our work done through them?
First of all, whenever there's any kind of antagonism or any kind of a negative response, it's important to try and recognize what could be the genesis of it.
Okay.
Right? Now, you coming in as a new person, what could be some of the thought processes that could be affecting them? There could be fear. Like if they don't get along with you, you might be in a position of power to terminate their job.
Right.
Second, they might not be open to the idea that there could be a change in culture because right now they're comfortable.
Right.
right? So if you narrow down most of our negative behavior or thought process, it stems from fear. It's fear.
Mm.
So if we need to, let's say, address a kind of negative response, it's best to understand how I can address that fear.
Mm.
So let's say we just pick up one fear. We don't even have to do an entire analysis. That one fear that there could be a threat to their job
Sure.
security or their work culture. How can you address that? So when you start out, any transition or any change is going to be difficult, right? Now, even if, let's say, you're not the owner's son and you are the owner,
Mm.
even then trying to do something new will be met with resistance.
Mm.
So handling transition would be taking it slow,
Mm.
right? And inform, be transparent with the people.
Mm.
What is happening, what is expected, what is going to happen.
Right.
Transparent information actually helps allay many of those fears,
Mm.
right? Now, in your case, it's not really about giving information, but somewhere showing that you are their teammate
Mm.
and not just playing boss.
Mm.
That helps address that fear,
Right.
right? So, starting out by learning from them.
Mm.
They've been there doing a certain task for years. They have an
Mm.
expertise, a certain experience. So, even for you, it's of great value if you can get to learn from them,
Mm.
right? So, somewhere our communication style, the way we interact with them, it's not just that, touching their feet or making them feel
Right.
great, but making them understand that you're there for the same reason.
Mm.
All of you are going to work together to meet that particular company's goal.
Right.
Your goal is not to threaten them
Mm.
or to make them uncomfortable, right? So, whatever is the goal, let's all of that understand what each one of us can do to
Mm.
reach that goal.
Okay. So, ma'am, you said about communication style. So, can you tell us about how many types of communication styles are there, or what are the different types of communication styles?
There are, of course, a lot of various classifications, but to keep it very simple, I would look at the three basic styles.
Okay.
One is the passive, one is the aggressive, third is the passive aggressive,
Okay.
right? We have more styles,
Mm.
but this is to give you a very, very basic understanding of
Right.
styles. Now, passive style, now there is no good and bad,
Mm.
it's very contextual, right? So, what works in one situation may not work in another.
Okay.
Now, for example, aggressive, the instinctive response is, oh, it's a bad thing.
Mm.
We should not be aggressive. But try going into a battlefield in a passive style, right? That's a recipe for disaster.
Mm.
So I'm not saying that the corporate world or the workplace is a battlefield, right? But there are situations where one will have to get firm or sometimes a little aggressive in our
Mm.
stance. Now, when you are setting goals, you can't be passive.
Mm.
Setting goals, it's always an ambitious plan,
Mm.
right? So you have to be aggressive in your thought.
Mm.
That doesn't mean you treat people with aggression,
Right.
right? So when you're talking of communication style, it's important to understand we cannot operate with one single style.
Okay.
We are like a bouquet of styles.
Mm.
But the wisdom or the, I would say, the EQ is in recognizing which situation demands which kind of style for a better outcome. Because ultimately we do things with an outcome in mind, right? Like communication is to connect with people. Our emotions also have to be harnessed for a particular outcome.
Mm.
So understanding and having that clarity, what is the outcome I want?
Mm.
Accordingly, adapting my style. So this is something that we call emo diversity.
Emo diversity. Okay.
Right? So the ability to take in different kinds of emotions,
Mm.
not to say that I don't want this or I want only this.
Okay.
That cannot work.
Mm.
Right? This one of the, in fact, that's a myth with emotional intelligence where people think that there are some negative emotions.
Mm.
There are no negative emotions.
Okay.
Right? There are just different emotions.
Mm.
Anger, sadness, people will immediately tell you these are negative. No, they're not. They have a purpose.
Mm.
Right? They are part of our emotional landscape. How can you just pick up? It's like saying, I look at a scenery, I don't like the mountains. I want only the sun, I want only the river.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So, having a balance, that is what we should strive for. It's not about picking and choosing like cherries that I want this, I don't want this.
Mm.
The idea is I have all of this, how can I use it better? And in which situations can which ones help me with a better outcome.
Mm.
That is actually putting in a very gist manner of emotional intelligence. That's the goal.
Okay. Ma'am, talking about emotional intelligence, could you, in very simple words, explain what exactly is emotional intelligence?
Now, as the word suggests, emotions are involved, and all living beings have emotions,
Right.
right? We shouldn't think that we have some superiority as human
Mm.
beings. Every living being has emotions. Now, intelligence, where we apply that is, first of all, recognizing and managing our emotions.
Mhm.
Similarly, recognizing and managing others' emotions.
Okay.
When I get these two together, that is emotional intelligence.
Okay.
Right? So there are a lot of terminologies,
Mm.
a lot of jargons that are used, but right now the focus is not in simply using jargons.
Mm.
It's to understand why are we talking of EQ
Mm.
and what can we do to make sure it helps us, or how can we improve it. That is the goal, right? So there you have the Daniel Goleman models, you have the Peter Salovey models. There's a lot of literature available. So
Mm.
anyone who wants to read up on EQ, there's plenty out there, right? And we can even see the evolution, how this whole social experiment started, how these neuroscientists and researchers worked on it. Um, in fact, there's a very interesting experiment that was done to find out if logical thinking comes first or emotional thinking come first. And what they found is emotions come first.
Okay.
It's backed by later by rational,
Okay.
right? So when you look at the history of how EQ has evolved, today it's talked about like a very normal thing.
Right.
In fact, it's I would say it has somewhere lost its spunk because of the manner in which it's misutilized also.
Mhm.
People just throw terms without understanding the significance of it, only to
Mhm.
sound intellectual or to sound important.
Right.
But it's important to internalize these concepts,
Mm.
right? To reflect on it, to think on it, because it actually helps. And not that these were not there before, right? From your Neanderthal man, I'm sure the emotions are there.
Right.
But the awareness, better structure, a better framework has come about now.
Mm.
So why not utilize that? The idea is to become better people,
Mm.
right? We are all working towards becoming better professionals.
Right.
But somewhere, this is one area which is getting neglected, and we will pay the price for it.
Mm.
So EQ is essential. I don't think there's a, it's not negotiable.
Mm.
Communication and EQ, they go hand in hand, and both are essential life skills.
Okay.
So unfortunately, they're called soft skills.
Okay. You told that some of the words in EQ are misused. So could you tell us which are those words and why are they so misused in today's generation?
See, what happens is anything new becomes like a fad,
Mhm.
whether it's your health fads,
Right.
whether it's your social media fads.
Mm.
So the poor EQ is not going to be spared, right? Because we all like to project a certain image of ourselves,
Mhm.
all of us. And what we are in reality and what we are vis-a-vis the image, it's very difficult. The lines are blurring
Mhm.
because constantly we are in a performative mode, right? We're performing. Either it's with our employees or our teammates, or we are performing in a social circle. We want to look happy. We want to appear that we are confident. We've got it all sorted. So in this quest, there is this one word that keeps getting thrown about is empathy.
Mm.
And even though I operate in this field, sometimes I get very tired of this, right? The way the word is used left, right, and center. But I do wish there was a greater presence of it in our behavior. Because more and more, when you come across social media reels or videos of people misbehaving, losing control, you wonder. I'm sure they all would have put some post at some point, or at least liked a post that talked about empathy.
Right.
Right? So, this irony, this contradiction, this hypocrisy is damaging because we feel we know it. I've heard about it, I've read about it, I know it. But the problem is, it's not just a theoretical thing.
Mm.
These are things that have to be wired into our thought process. And that takes effort, it takes commitment. You cannot just read 3 articles on empathy or 3 studies on it and say that now I'm empathetic,
Mm.
right? And then put on a pretentious, polite tone to show that you're empathetic. Because empathy is not just a tone,
Hmm.
empathy is a thought process. Um, the minute you cannot tolerate someone who speaks differently, you cannot tolerate a different kind of food
Hmm.
or a different kind of culture, where is that empathy?
Hmm.
Right? So, this is just one example, but uh, I'm just trying to highlight that somewhere we need to take it beyond the surface level performance that we are currently doing and
Hmm.
make it a more internalized, a wired response. And that requires reflection, a lot of reflection. So here, by no means I'm trying to say that I am, an authority on it. We are all equally flawed and
Right.
equally struggling with these things. But yes, somewhere it does feature in my mind a bit more.
Mhm.
Maybe because I'm working with so many people on this, so you do tend to think about like what I just said. How would that come across, or should I have handled that better, or should I have done something differently? So that thought process comes in, but that does not mean I've got it all sorted, right?
Okay.
So uh, I think somewhere we have to look beyond sounding something and to being something. So that whole transition to being, I think, is our whole life, what it's all about, right? What we think we want to be and what we should be and who we are. But at the end of the day, like we spoke about respect, being empathetic has to be a life goal. That's the only reason if we can call ourselves human.
Okay.
Right? Without empathy, I don't think there's anything humane about being human.
And you also said about one point that emotional intelligence and communication go hand in hand. Could you elaborate more that how do they go hand in hand? How do they work?
Now, let's say if I put EQ first, what I feel will reflect the way I communicate.
Right.
If I'm irritated, to give an example, someone unrelated to that source of irritation comes and speaks to me, I snap at them.
Okay.
That is something we witness in our daily life, right? So there, now what is happening is the communication per se is not meant to be that way, but the emotion is influencing it. Now let's look at the other way around. We are going to communicate with someone. Let's say we are meeting a very important guest or a very important client. You know that your speech is ready. You know how you will greet them, you know how you will introduce yourself and how you will speak, but now you prepare the mind. You are nervous, but you say, no, things are going to be okay. You will get people to help you out or to give the directions. So, what we see is it's not just a one way thing. We can alter the way we feel when we alter the way we communicate. And similarly, the way we feel can alter the way we communicate. Okay. Right? So, it's like a two-way process. So, why this is important to know is there could be times when emotionally we are not, let's say, regulated. In such a occasion, it helps to work on the communication. That's easier to work on, right? And that can impact the way we feel. For example, you're feeling really down, you're not feeling very up to the mark. You just go to the mirror, like some of these exercises they say, smile at yourself, talk well to yourself. It actually starts shifting the way we feel. The person who went into the room and the person who comes out will be very different. So that seems like a form of manipulation, but it's a positive manipulation. Somewhere we are altering the way we are thinking or feeling so that we have a better outcome. Right? But manipulation for the sake of it, in the sense where we judge people and we think what can work, we perform, we become fake, that is also happening. That's a reality we have to deal with, right? But I only hope that we realize how powerful this is and how we can actually work and harness it for a better interaction. So, but if you think communication without EQ is going to happen, no.
So, ma'am, you have been training how to control on your emotions, emotional intelligence to a lot of people. So, be honest here. Has there been a moment in your life where you lost your control on your emotions and that turned out to be better?
Losing control, I would look at it in two ways.
Okay.
Now, if let's say I go into a session with a plan in mind, like these are the things I want to do or the issues I want to address. So there is a certain control I have put on myself, right? Because of that framework.
Right.
But along the process, suddenly you realize that something is limiting. There needs to be more, or something that needs to be let gone of. So that loss of control is a good thing.
Okay.
Because somewhere it's bringing in flexibility and adaptability. But if loss of control you mean as in kind of losing my cool, I don't think there's anything good in it ever for anyone.
Okay.
Right? You might feel relief in that venting, but you might as well go into a room and scream, like what was shown long back in the movie Metro. Just scream from a rooftop and you feel better. So that is good for a personal, relief. But in a social construct, losing control is never going to have a good outcome. So if losing control means letting go of rigidity, having more flexibility, it's a great thing. But losing control of emotions, rarely good. And as for me, I don't recall any such instance where I've lost control. There were challenging times when I was associated with the Trinity College London exams. They have exams in communication for children, school children. So I had worked with kids as young as 6 years old, right up to 14. So there have been very challenging times where they will, kind of test you. They will do something contrary to what you ask them to and things like that. But even there would be humor. Those are actually funny situations. And children have their own endearing ways of making things light. So I would say, on the contrary, they made me redefine my approach. It was like, rules are not going to work there. Right? Getting them curious, getting them interested is the only way to work with them. So yeah, that way I have lost control, but not my cool.
Okay. So when we talk about losing control, let's take up relationships. When we come into relationships, the most important thing is communication.
Right.
The well you communicate, the relationship goes stronger. But there comes a point in every relationship where you don't get what the other partner is saying, and vice versa. So at that time, how can we communicate, or how EQ comes into place?
First of all, many a time the problem comes in the objective of the communication. Yes, they do say, whether it's a couple, whether it's family members, communicate. That solves problems. But sometimes your communication can create problems. Right? What is your objective? Is it to win? Is it to prove that you are right? Then that communication is going nowhere. Because the other party will keep defending, the other party will keep contradicting, egos will get involved, and there is going to be animosity, bitterness, and even if you stop talking, you carry that bitterness. Right? So being clear of what is the objective of your communication, that's important. Sometimes not communicating is a better approach. Right? Taking that break, taking that pause is very important, because communication sometimes can become like it's like floodwaters. Once it starts, there's no stopping it. Then when you have nothing new to add, you go back into the past. You go digging up past things because you need something to say.
Right.
So taking that pause and saying that this is right now not really going anywhere. I'm feeling hurt, you're feeling hurt. So it's better we talk about it later, if that's okay with you. Now, that single approach or line that way, I'm not saying we have to have a script like that,
Right.
but just an approach that way immediately calms down the situation. Because the idea is not that everyone will always agree with you. There is going to be disagreement, and
Right.
the earlier we realize that, the better. People will think differently.
Right.
But why should that become a cause of hatred, bitterness, or conflict? So out here, I'm not talking of very, very serious issues where someone's dignity is getting belittled. Then that cannot be addressed only by communication, right? Certain steps will have to be taken. Corrective behavior has to be done. But where normal discussions, like quarrels or arguments, so they're being very clear that the objective is not to prove I'm the winner and you're the loser. The objective is, can we find a solution to this whatever point we are disagreeing on?
Right.
And if we can't find a solution, is it okay to hold on to our respective thought process? Right? Like now, say something as simple as choosing a movie, what movie to watch. Sometimes that can flare into big battles,
Right.
right? Coming down to you have no taste in movies, or you are a person with no creative thinking. So what should have been just a matter of taking a decision, okay, today we go for this, tomorrow we'll go for the other one. Or we'll schedule it, one we'll watch on OTT, the second we'll watch in the theaters. Some kind of a resolution. But instead, now it has become a question of you're not good enough, and the other person starts feeling humiliated. So similar kind of small issues getting amplified into big conflicts is a very common thing, even at the workplace, right? Because workplace dynamics is also not very different from couples.
Right.
The boss and the subordinate has a kind of a love-hate relationship.
Right.
So the one who is not in favor with the boss is going to feel very angry. The one
Right.
who is in favor also will feel sometimes they are being taken for granted, because the boss likes him, but you have to follow whatever he says. So it's any human interaction is going to have this kind of a evolving dynamics. There's never a constant. It's never going to be I like you, period. Now we will agree. It's all la la land, right? So EQ is going to be extremely important in developing that sensitivity. That differences are there. How can I go around it? It does not mean suppressing. Okay, I'll just agree with that person, make the person happy. That is not EQ, right? You need to be able to express as well. But can you have better ways in which you do it? EQ helps.
Okay. So, ma'am, we talked about relationship, we talked about communication, EQ. So, is there any person or a person that you admire who has a good communication also and his EQ is intact with him?
Well, in my personal life, I definitely have met people who have been a calming influence, right? And when I say calming, it does not mean that they don't have a personality or a mind of their own.
Right.
They do. But if I have to talk of well known figures, I think most of these legendary leaders are people with phenomenal EQ, right? Whether you talk of Ratan Tata or you talk of Aziz Premji, it's not that they just do charity or they just have money or they're successful in business. Constantly, you keep coming one after another across stories of how they treat people. That does not mean people have taken them for granted, right? People respected them, believed in them. At the same time, they have held together large teams. How has that happened? It's not just a miracle. It's not just some rare phenomenon. These are people who have very actively thought about it. They have constantly worked on improving their approaches. I'm sure Mr. Ratan Tata was not who he is considered today to how he was when he was 19. There were certain core values that he's grown up with, which has shaped the way he thinks and responds. But it's been a journey, right? Different life experiences, different set of people that he's interacted with, different circumstances he's gone through has shaped it, made it better and better. So I think that's one golden rule that we can pick up from them. First of all, being open. This is again a very often misused word of being open, but it's sadly is not happening as much. Actually be open to different kinds of people. That's the only way you can build on your landscape. Our constant temptation is to hang around with people who are like us, right? It's like an echo chamber, as we call it. So I like this movie, you like this movie. I like this flavor, you like this flavor. So we are best friends.
FOMO.
Right? Um, but that echo chamber, in the long run, will end up limiting us as people. And suddenly tomorrow someone says, I don't like this movie. You're out. Right? And imagine doing that in a personal circle. You can't be just picking up people and flinging them out because they think differently. It might sound very drastic, like who does that? We all do that. Right? The minute someone is not really in favor with us, there is this quiet distancing that happens. Not my type, we don't vibe. Now, these are all glorified words of actually saying
Right.
someone is not, capable of being included in my circle. But people with high EQ actually are able to adapt and handle different kinds of people. Does it mean they have no personality or they don't have a thought process of their own? No, they do. But only thing is, it's more elastic. They're able to take in more people. So I think when it comes to seeking out people, those are the kinds of people we need to seek out, because hanging around with them, being with that kind of a thought process will influence us as well. We become less narrow, less rigid. So yes, in my personal life, I've had the good fortune of meeting such people, and it does not mean they're all leaders, right? Some of them have been younger than me, right? So, but the thing is, the thought process is what really appealed, and somewhere I do believe I have been influenced by them, right? At
Okay.
least that's the hope.
Okay. So, ma'am, the people who are watching our podcast, if they want to develop their EQ skills, they want to develop the communication skills, what 3 or 5 tips that you can give for them so that they learn from a podcast that after applying these tips, at least 8%, by 1%, their communication skills will get better.
First thing, very essential thing in communication, I'm going to emphasize listening.
Listening. Okay.
We are increasingly becoming a hearing generation. We hear a lot. There's a lot of noise and there are a lot of distractions. So it's not entirely our fault.
Right.
But the problem is, it's taking away the joy and the benefit of listening. When someone is talking to you, look at them, for God's sake, right? That's the basic thing that can be done.
Right.
And listen to it, wait for them to finish. We are in a hurry. Right? We have so many things we want to say to prove we are knowledgeable, we are smart, we are happening. The problem is, when everyone wants to do the speaking, who's going to do the listening? And you cannot have a monologue as an example of communication. It's a dialogue, and it's called a dialogue for a reason. Right? Two people need to get the opportunity to speak. Like, yes, I do understand there are variations. Some people are more expressive. They may be, more comfortable with speaking, and some more comfortable with listening. But you cannot have set roles that way, that only I will talk and only you will listen. Right? Cannot happen that way. So listening, and listening with the intent of understanding. Right? This is a very common thing that you find a lot of communication coaches talking about, because we listen with the idea of replying. Okay, he's asked this, now what will I say? So in the mind, the framing of the answer has started.
Right.
After that, whatever the person is saying is just noise. Right? You've not paid attention. So that's the number one tip. Second thing I'm going to say is actually developing a neutral or a smiling face.
Okay.
Now, why I'm talking about this is, all of us have a certain resting face. Some people naturally look sad. Some people naturally look angry, even if they are not feeling any of it. So it's important to understand, how does your face appear to people? We are so busy looking at others' faces, we don't know how our face appears. Right? So it's a very standard old method. Like for theater artists or people in drama, they are asked to look into the mirror, study your face. Instead of getting offended when someone says, "Yeah, why do you look so pissed off?" Right? It's not because that person is trying to insult you, but you may be giving off an expression which should not be carried forward that way. Look into the mirror, see how do you look with a neutral face, the poker face, as they say.
Right.
So we all have a resting face. Can we slightly tilt it towards a smile? It really helps in that initial interaction with people. You walk in and stare at someone, or you walk in and smile gracefully at someone, there's a huge response in how people perceive you. Right? And there's not just an image building. You feel good when you smile. So it's a very standard thing that is said, smile, smile. Right? Not about smiling like an idiot, but smile with purpose. Look at people that you're happy to see them. Don't look at people with the idea that today I have to get into a fight, or I'm going to sort you out. that never helps with
Right.
any communication or any rapport building,
Mm.
right? You may have fantastic English, but if that's your approach, no one is really going to want to talk to you.
Mm.
So then the third thing I'm going to talk about is actually being considerate.
Okay.
Politeness, courtesy, etiquette, all these things are nothing but to become more considerate,
Okay.
right? More respectful towards people. Stop making rude behavior fashionable.
Mm.
That's
Right.
not cool,
Mm.
right? Today, you don't look at Mr. Tata and think he's cool
Right.
because he used offensive language
Mm.
or he behaved in a very, very rash manner. He's cool.
Mm.
And 100 years hence, he will remain cool
Right.
for the way he carried himself.
Right.
All of us can do that.
Mm.
We don't have to be Mr. Ratan Tata,
Right.
right? But in our own ways, we can be cool,
Mm.
more respectful, more humble. Stop this bragging, stop this in your face, because this whole culture of marketing, hustle, being seen, being visible, it's good for a certain context,
Right.
right? But you can't carry that over into your personal life.
Mm.
It cannot be about showing one upmanship
Mm.
to your family members or to your friends.
Yes.
You have to treat them as people, treat them in dignity,
Right.
right? And just because you're a boss running a firm, you cannot treat your employees in a bad manner.
Mm.
So these are very basic things that will shape our communication.
Mm.
So if I just were to say that, go and do a couple of courses and improve your English, that's not helping in any manner if these basic things are not in place.
Right.
So that's why I would always emphasize more on that EQ side,
Mm.
though I'm a communication coach, because I think that's where it all begins.
Okay.
And we need to understand how this journey can be taken. It's not the reverse,
Mm.
right? It's not just polished language. It's first, let's polish our thought process,
Right.
and that will actually help us become cool.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was interesting talking to you. I got to learn a lot of new things. I hope our viewers also get to learn new things about how to communicate, why emotional intelligence is so important. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Manav. A total pleasure. And of course, as a parting thought, I think it's incredible what you're doing. And it's even more incredible to hear of someone who has taken on a role which was so contrary to their natural
Right.
style, and to make something so valuable out of it. Like, you are doing something which is not just about looking cool,
Right.
right? It's about actually helping people learn new things. So I think fantastic.